Okay, it's going now. So thank you, Joy, for allowing me to interview you. So could you first of all tell me your name and tell me about where you actually work as a social worker?
Right. Thank you, Simon. My name is Joy Mkandawire. I am a social worker by profession, and I work with St. John of God Hospital Services, based in Lilongwe, the capital city of Malawi. Yeah.
That's great. And as a social worker, myself, I'm always interested to know what motivates people to get into the profession. What was your journey into social work about? Why did you want to become a social worker yourself?
Right. My journey to pursue the profession of social work was a motivation of the environment where I come from. Basically, before I pursued social work, I was more engaged into charity work. I was also engaged into being a motivational speaker to my colleagues.
Okay.
I was also engaged in some leadership activities within my church or my community setting. And I also had this passion inside of me whereby people could just approach me and explain to me some challenges they are passing through, some difficult situations that they are handling and going through. And then by my natural being, by then I'll just find myself being a good listener, trying to provide some pieces of advice. Though by then it wasn't from a professional point of view, but then I just felt it that my contribution was making a lot of impact to my friends or other people who would approach me. Further to that, I am also one of those persons whereby when I come into an environment, people naturally they just come to trust me. It's something which I also don't understand, but then it was one of those contributing factors which at the end of the day, when I had to make one of my choices when applying for my tertiary education, then I had to take for social work.
Yeah.
So that's what motivated me.
Okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And what does a day-to-day social work job look like to you? What do you actually do as a social worker?
For now, as a social worker, mostly I'm engaged with empowering people, enlightening them about life skills, problem solving. I also do much of community work because my job orientation is much of field work. With the mental health setting, it's more of community reintegration and then rehabilitation and trying to assist a service user on how best they can regain their social functioning skills. So on a daily basis, I'm handling cases whereby I have to assist the service user with decision-making skills, family support networks. I have to deal with maybe liaising with other institutions in the community which can offer services which are maybe beyond our mental health setting. For example, if somebody would like to learn some vocational skills training, either in carpentry or maybe bricklaying or maybe business management skills, which the hospital does not offer, then I need to connect that person to institutions outside our work environment which can come in and assist that person. So on a daily basis, it's more of capacity building, and I really enjoy my work because sometimes you go home and then you be sleeping and thinking that, okay, so tomorrow, why am I going to start with that client, my service user? I had this approach, and then what else can I do? How is he faring? And I hope that he's also progressing very well. So it gives me hope and expectations, and seeing somebody else being regaining their skills is something which makes me happy. So I enjoy my work on a daily basis. It's something like it's a personal activity rather than profession, but then the profession is there just to be a guide.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
For you, just my last question, Joy, what about the future of social work in Malawi? What are your thoughts about that?
The future of social work in Malawi is very, very promising because we have it as one of those developing professions, but then on the other hand, it's also on a higher demand. Though the challenge that we're having is that some institutions are not very conversant with the relevance of the profession yet in the institutional setting. But as we are now developing, we are gaining a sense of recognition and our services are now being recognized. So with that in place, we're seeing that as a country, we are going to have a very huge impact in the lives of people because in most cases, social work comes in whereby the other professions have cut off. Where the other institutions can't follow it up further. That's where a social worker now comes in and then see the proceedings that, okay, maybe at the hospital, for instance, you receive medication, but now after the care of the hospital, how are you coping up in your normal environment? Or maybe we are dealing with children with disabilities. Specialists meet them maybe at the schools and then they teach them one or two skills. But then how do you follow up that what the service user is learning in class is being applied on the ground? So that's where the social worker comes in. So I see social work to be very promising, and we are going to enhance the application of all the other service providers that aim to uplift the livelihood standards of the human person. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. That's great. Really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Joy.
Yeah.